A good late afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Sage. You're watching 𝐊𝐿𝐴 TV live from Sydney. This is the last show of the day, the last trade. There's no better way to wind down the day than with today's market close commentary, so let's dive straight in. And the Australian share market continued the gaining streak for the third straight session on Wednesday, with the benchmark index, the ASX 200, rising as much as 0.5%. The market rally was driven by a surge in buying across the tech and materials stocks, while firm global also boosted investor sentiment. Investors also reacted to the corporate earnings announcements as some big players such as WiseTech, Afterpay, 𝐊𝐴𝐴, Orocobre, Worley, 𝐊𝐿𝐴𝐴 and Aurelia Metals released their results this morning. The ASX 200 closed 28.90 points or 0.39% higher, crossing above its 20-day moving average. And during the day's trade, the index opened higher and gained as much as 0.5% to hit an intraday high. Among the individual stocks, software firm WiseTech Global emerged as a top gainer by rising 26%, and some of the other notable gainers were the tech firm Appen, financial services firm Hub24 and digital travel business Webjet. On the flip side, Australia's largest plumbing and bathroom supplier Reece topped the losers chart with 10.3% losses. Some of the other worst performing stocks were media firm Nine Entertainment and industrial company Seven Group Holdings. And next up, let's see how the sectoral indices performed today. The market breadth indicating the overall strength of the market was weak as 6 of 11 sectors ended in the red zone, and the telecom sector emerged as the worst performer with 1.7% loss, followed by utilities, which dropped 1%. Among others, AREITs, consumer staples, industrial and consumer discretionary also closed higher. Meanwhile, information technology emerged as the top performer with 1.7% gains, tracking the overnight gains in the US counterpart Nasdaq Composite. Materials, healthcare and energy space also witnessed surges in buying activity. In the tech space, the software firm WiseTech Global gained the most, surging as much as 50% on strong earnings and robust outlook for the next fiscal. Among others, Appen, EML Payments, Altium, Megaport also closed in the green. And meanwhile, the BNPL major Afterpay ended lower on disappointing earnings, while 𝐊𝐴𝐴 gained on robust results. Let's move on now to the materials space. In the index heavyweights, BHP, Rio Tinto, Fortescue Metals, Mineral Resources and South 32 were among the top gainers, and the rise in the mining stocks was attributed to the spurt in the iron ore prices, which surged 6.8% up to $146.13 US a tonne in the overnight trade. And meanwhile, gold miners stocks closed lower owing to the fall in price of the yellow metal. Gold spot price was quoted at around $1,795 per troy ounce, down 0.4%. And among the sectoral leaders, St Barbara, Evolution Mining, De Grey Mining, Silver Lake Resources and Ramelius Resources were among the top losers. In the energy space, the ASX-listed energy companies extended gains for the second day owing to the rise in the crude oil price, and the sectoral leaders such as Woodside Petroleum, Santos, Ampol, Beach Energy all gained the most. In the banking sector, all the four major lenders, Commonwealth Bank, NAB, ANZ Bank and Westpac, all closed in the green. Well, I do have plenty more of the trending updates to share, but for now it's time for a short break. Stay with us.
Hi there, James Preston for 𝐊𝐿𝐴 TV. Are you into gaming and virtual reality? Does AI and the endless possibilities it entails capture your interest? Or are you constantly trawling through the web to try and discover the latest updates and innovations in the tech space? Well, let us do the work for you. From the latest product launches to shocking affairs on the World Wide Web, exclusive interviews and information about the top companies like Apple and Google to brand new tech startups vying for your attention. 𝐊𝐴𝐴's Tech Beat has the latest in what matters in the world of technology. Join me every single Thursday on The Tech Beat, exclusive to 𝐊𝐴𝐴 TV.
welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Sage here, and you're watching The Last Trade by 𝐊𝐿𝐼𝐴 TV. Let's move on now and focus on the shares that hogged the limelight today. Biotech firm Clarity Pharmaceuticals made a strong debut on the ASX on Wednesday. The stock opened higher and gained as much as 22% to hit a high of $1.71 Australian against the offer price of $1.40. The company, engaged in the early stage cancer diagnosis, raised 92 million Australian dollars via an IPO. A total of 65.7 million shares were issued under the offer at $1.40 each. And founded by Alan Taylor, the Sydney-headquartered Clarity is developing next-generation products to address the growing need for the use of radiopharmaceuticals in the diagnosis and therapy of cancers in children and adults. Shares of the software company 𝐵𝐼𝐴 rallied over 21% to $1.45 Australian on completion of the fundraising program. And the firm has raised 79.4 million Australian dollars from institutional investors at $1.05 per share Australian, while its plans to raise another 56 million Australian dollars from the retail supporters at the same price. The capital raised will be used to fund the acquisition of US software company Brainshark for 116 million Australian dollars in cash. Also making the news, the share price of Iluka Resources dropped over 3% after it released its half-yearly earnings report. The mineral sands producer reported 14% growth in net profit after tax for the half-year ended 30th June 2021. The mineral sands revenue rose 61% compared to the same period last year. Shares of jewellery retailer 𝐊𝐴 jumped over 18% on solid earnings for 2021's financial year. The net profit rose 43.3%, while sales grew 18.9%. The store rollout specialist opened 109 new stores over the year to take the global total to 544. Shares of WiseTech Global rallied as much as 58.3% to hit a 52-week high of $57.31 Australian on robust earnings and a strong outlook for the 2022 financial year. The logistics software solutions provider has projected financial year 22 revenue growth of 18 to 25% and EBITDA growth of 26 to 38% for financial year 2021. Its revenue rose 18%, while EBITDA jumped 63%. The underlying net profit after tax more than doubled to 105.8 million Australian dollars compared to the last fiscal. Boosted by the strong earnings, the board of WiseTech has declared a fully franked dividend of 3.85 per share, up 141% as compared to financial year 20's final dividend. And shares of Buy Now Pay Later major Afterpay dropped 1.1% to touch an intraday low of $133.62 Australian after announcing its earnings report. And the payment solutions company's net loss widened by nearly 600% in the financial year 2021. The spike in the loss was attributed to a rise in annual marketing costs as it expanded the business into new markets to cash in on the pandemic-driven boom in demand for BNPL services. And meanwhile, revenue rose 78%, while operating income, or EBITDA, fell 13%. Another BNPL major made the news today as well. Zip saw its shares gaining as much as 1.8% to reach $7.45 Australian after reporting robust earnings for 2021's fiscal. The stock opened lower today and slipped over 5% to hit an intraday low of $6.94 Australian. And the company's annual loss ballooned to 652.5 million Australian dollars as the company spent huge on business expansion in the US and elsewhere, and Zip's revenue surged by 150% versus 160 million Australian dollars in the prior year. The customer base jumped by 248%, while merchants on Zip's integrated network increased to 51,300. Up 109% year on year. Well, I do have lots more to share in the trending updates, so please stay with us.
Tune in to stay updated while on the move.
We will tell you where the crypto craze has reached,
where the property market is headed next,
what the world is doing to become more environmentally friendly.
apart from tracking the daily market charter,
Be on top of the latest news and announcements
with 𝐊𝐿𝐴𝐼𝐻 TV.
And welcome back, Sage here. You're watching The Last Trade by 𝐊𝐴𝐼𝐻 TV, and we were sharing with you some trending updates from the Australian stock market, and the share price of Orocobre slipped 2.5% to reach $8.95 Australian after it released its earnings result for the full year ended 30th June 2021. The lithium chemicals producers' losses widened 14.7% to reach $59.6 million, dented by a $74.9 million Argentine tax rate change and the effects of inflation. However, the revenue climbed 10%. For financial year 21, the total production of lithium carbonate was up 6% at 12,611 tonnes compared to the last fiscal, despite COVID-19 disruptions. And lastly, shares of engineering company Worley fell nearly 4%, down to $10.90 Australian, after it reported a drop in its profit and revenue in the 2021 financial year. The net profit dropped 50%, while revenue slipped 27%. The company's board has also announced to pay a final dividend of 25 cents per share, taking the full year dividends to 50 cents per share. And now in our next segment, we'll take a look east towards the Asian markets' performance. And the Asian markets were trading mostly higher, barring few tracking firm cues from the global markets, which rebounded on positive developments related to COVID-19's vaccine. The easing concerns over the tapering of the Federal Reserve economic stimulus also lifted the market sentiment. Taiwan's weighted stock index was the best performer in the regional market with 0.9% gains, followed by China's Shanghai Composite, which rose 0.35%. Jakarta's stock exchange in Indonesia gained 0.25%, while Thailand's SCT Composite was up 0.2% as well. In a similar manner, the Straits Times Index in Singapore also traded higher with marginal gains, while India's BSE Sensex gained 0.35% in the opening deals. Bucking the trend, however, Japan's Nikkei dropped 0.1%, while South Korea's Kospi fell 0.25%, and Hang Seng's, the benchmark index of Hong Kong, was down 0.4%. Moving on from Asia now to the US, Wall Street ended at a record high in the overnight trade as approval of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine raised hopes of a quicker economic recovery. The market sentiment was also buoyed by rising optimism that the Federal Reserve will maintain its ultra-loose monetary policy stance in light of recent surges in the coronavirus infections. The Dow Jones gained 0.09%, while the S&P 500 rose 0.15%. The Nasdaq Composite settled 0.52% higher. And please keep watching for more trending updates, but for now it's time for another short break. Property by 𝐊𝐼𝐻. Looking for a dream home? Well, that may sound easy, but it isn't. And from looking for a property that is the right fit for you in terms of cost and other factors, to zeroing down on the right mortgage plan, there are various aspects to consider. And for the latest lowdown on the property market, tune in on 𝐊𝐼𝐻 TV with me, Sage. I will give the latest updates on the property market as well as real estate stocks to help you make the right decision. Keep watching Property with 𝐊𝐼𝐻. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Sage and you're watching The Last Trade by 𝐊𝐼𝐻 TV. Now, in the last segment of the show, let's take a quick look at the crypto market's performance. The cryptocurrencies were trading lower during the Asian trading hours on Wednesday, with popular coins such as Bitcoin, Ether, Dogecoin and Cardano reeling under selling pressure. The overbought conditions as well as regulatory concerns left the investors jittery. The price of Bitcoin, the world's largest cryptocurrency by market capitalisation, dropped nearly 3%. And the market analysts expect a period of consolidation ahead of Friday's option expiry date and news from the Federal Reserve's annual Economic Policy Symposium in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Ether, the world's second largest crypto, declined nearly 5%, and Cardano, the third largest cryptocurrency by market capitalisation, fell 5%, while lesser-known digital coin XRP slipped nearly 7%. And meanwhile, other known digital coins, such as Dogecoin, Stellar, Uniswap, Litecoin and Bancor, were also flashing in the red. In a fresh development, Citigroup is reportedly considering offering Bitcoin futures trading for some institutional clients. The US banking giant is awaiting regulatory approval to begin trading Bitcoin futures contracts on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. And thank you for joining us on that report, but that's a wrap for the show and also for the day at 𝐊𝐴N TV. I will see you tomorrow as close as possible to 10 a.m. Until then, take care and have a good evening. This is Sage signing off.